Hello, Slightly Sinister patrons. I hope you've all had a delightful Thanksgiving with your families. We are now officially in the holiday decorating season. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you guys how I decorate my trees, and maybe some of these tips will help you with your own. I have this small tree and I think it'll be a little easier for me to demonstrate on. And I also think that every year I'm going to come up with one or two themes or mashups that I will try and decorate the tree in. I thought that would be a fun way to challenge myself design-wise, and who knows, maybe someone will get inspired by something they see. So let's get to work. I have artificial trees just because it's easier to get a consistent look every year, and I feel kind of guilty about chopping down trees. So I have artificial trees, and I think they just tend to look more full too. But if your tree's been sitting in a box all year, when you take it out, it's going to look pretty weird. So you need to take the time to fluff the branches, spread them out so when you hang your ornaments, they kind of dangle correctly and you don't have a bunch of bare spots. Once your branches are fluffed, then you can start throwing things on your trees. I think the best place to start is with ribbon or tulle or some kind of garland that runs throughout the whole tree. It'll kind of tie the entire thing together. The first theme that I pulled out of the hat was Romantic Edwardian. So I chose a light and fluffy tulle that will run top to bottom on the tree. I tied 3 strands of tulle together to give it more volume, and it also helps keep it from separating on the tree. I added some off-white lace ribbon to the tulle to boost the romance factor. Next, I added roses where the tulle sinks into the tree to kind of look like the flowers are pinning it there. I almost always use a floral or botanical accent on the tree because it just adds to the vibrance. Feel free to experiment. You do not have to stick strictly to winter plants or your traditional Christmas plants like poinsettias. Pearls were very popular during the Edwardian era, so I chose these sprigs of branches that had these little pearl pops on the end of them. And instead of sticking them randomly in the tree, I kind of centered them around the flowers so it almost looks like a bouquet. Now we can start adding our large glass ornaments. I always use the lightest glass balls before moving to the darker colors because those have the most contrast with the dark tree. I want the most visible things to have the best real estate on the tree. And that'll also make sure that your contrasting items are evenly spaced. If you're working on a tree that's white or silver or something like that, you're going to want to use your dark ornaments first before putting your lighter ones. Next, I added kind of the copper brass colored ones and the wine red color. I chose a wine red because that'll give you a more antique feel. I found these nice, bright, shiny, champagne colored teardrop shapes, and I really liked them because I think they reminded me of a woman's earring, and I think that just added a little more elegance to the tree. I then took a smaller sized and more reflective version of the wine red glass balls and filled in any gaps or empty spaces. And this is a base design for my Romantic Edwardian tree. From here, I think it would be really cool to find some antique cameo brooches and use those as ornaments. Or maybe some antique perfume bottles or costume jewelry would be really cool too. For my next tree, I pulled space elves out of the hat. For some reason, whenever I think of elves or I do any project that has elves in it, I have to always have some sort of opposing faction to the elves. And for this one, I chose to do some Lovecraftian Cthulhu monsters. I felt like the white lights that come pre-lit on this tree weren't really right for this theme, so I went ahead and wrapped the top portion, which will be the elves, and the bottom portion, which will be the Cthulhu monsters, in different colored lights. Then, like I said before, I always have to have some sort of wrapped feature that brings the tree together. So I'm going to start out with a dark kind of nebula blue on the top, and that's going to morph into this kind of electric acidic green color. I wanted a little more texture than just the plain tulle, so I layered some elements on top of the tulle that'll kind of speak more to each faction's personality. My space elf got a densely packed iridescent glitter ribbon over that nebula blue tulle. And my Cthulhu monsters got this really weird kind of swampy textured ribbon that I found. When I saw these dark blue velvet poinsettias at the store, I couldn't stop staring at them, so I just had to buy them. I couldn't find any ornaments that I liked off of the shelf that would work for this theme. But what I did find was some black glitter balls and some dark blue glass ones that I just kind of glued some iridescent rhinestones to, and it turned out all right. I took some of the black glitter balls and I glued some bright green raffia around them, but when I filmed it, they look kind of yellow, so I'm not too happy with how those turned out because they don't kind of mesh with the whole look. Now, this next part was probably the easiest because I found this elf that had a almost kind of futuristic spacesuit on. All I had to do for him was take a large plastic empty ornament and cut a hole big enough to fit his head through, and then I popped his hat out through the top. And last but not least, I added my Cthulhu monsters scaling the tree to get to the elf. For the monsters, I found some large-scale Captain America dolls. I decapitated them and then replaced his head with some tentacle monsters. Okay, before I go, I wanted to talk about one more thing. I think a lot of people struggle with wanting to have traditional looking Christmas decorations, but also wanting to express their inner weirdo. And I wanted to open your eyes to a whole new world of possibilities for your slightly sinister Christmas. For example, the Nutcracker. It is a traditional Christmas decoration, and I have a lot of them. I collect them actually. Here I have them displayed in a normal fashion, just lined up. Nothing weird about that. But watch what happens when I apply the principles of composition to create tension. All of a sudden, we have something that is slightly sinister. Just imagine your guests walking around your house looking at all your decorations, and they come across this scene. Add a little bit of dramatic lighting, and you've got yourself a holiday horror film. I hope you found some of this helpful or inspiring, and if you have any questions or need ideas, I'm always around.